your energy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. Alchemize your energy. Now is the time, it's all up to you. Alchemize your energy, my friend, let your mind be free.
What's up, guys? So, man, it's the eclipse. The eclipse have happened, and it was interesting, right? Like, I was scared. Everybody was scared. Some people saw it, some people didn't. But I showed it on my channel. If you get a chance, go watch that eclipse video. But time marches on, and more bull stuff is still going on. So, I wanted to share this video about Hollywood because I really, I've been talking about the AI and stuff like that. I've been talking about how AI is like changing the scope of humanity, but in reality, we still got this whole big elephant in the room called Hollywood that is really like just messing up everything. So let's have this conversation. Let's talk about it. All right.
More crazy over these past couple of weeks, and now we have a body.
Josiah Rise is the person that I like. Josiah Rise is the person that I'm getting this content from. So go check his channel out. I'm going to also put his link in the chat. But I want to talk about what he says. He's pretty much got a lot of powerful stuff that he's talking about. Let's check him out.
Guard who worked for a very popular celebrity, a very powerful person in Hollywood, who is here to talk about some of the horrific things that are out there that could be on video that has a lot of celebrities panicking right now. Okay, there are celebrities, according to this bodyguard, who are extremely worried. Okay, they are shaking in their boots over what could be happening to them very, very soon. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about today. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So former bodyguard says Diddy had every room taped and bugged. Sean Diddy Combs' former bodyguard Gene Deal says that the rapper had politicians, princes, and preachers in his house for certain gatherings, adding that there may be video footage of these individuals engaging in salacious or illicit activities. So we do have the video here about him talking about this. So let's go ahead and check this out. This is wild, wild stuff.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think that the celebrities that
and if you don't know anything about Diddy or his parties or anything like that, let's just say that they were not good. Okay, pretty much everyone that talks about these things talks about how bad they were and some of the horrific things that were happening there.
may be worried is because what Lil Rob said. Lil Rob said in his affidavit.
Can I just say something about this horror everybody's feeling? Like, bro, you went to a party and it was a swingers party or it was wild, and you could have just opened the door and left. I really don't understand how adults are pretending like they're not adults and they don't have two legs and can't walk out the door. I don't get it. Walk out the door. What are you doing? Oh, it's horrific. It's terrible. Okay, leave. Period. Let's get into
that Diddy had every room taped and bugged.
This is like Hugh Hefner type of stuff. Okay, like this is crazy stuff.
Can you imagine? He had every room taped and bugged. They found them in the house, bro.
And just think about this. Think about how many celebrities attended these parties. Think about how many powerful elites attended these parties. The things that they were caught saying, the things they were caught doing. It could all be there on video, on tape. But what he says here just gets even more and more crazy.
By them having those things in the house, and people know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, There's loose men, all kind of crazy shit. Bruh.
And see that's why I think this is like the beginning of the AI revolution. Because what's going to happen is that just to like circumvent all this, they're going to have AI come in and like do all the like stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be about parties no more. None of that. It's going to be all fake AI characters. Period. Like this whole thing is going to like crash Hollywood down. Watch what I
They
say.
just wondering who or when they're going to let this stuff be known. If it's on videotape.
Yeah, man. I know they got to be shook, man, after finding out he was recording everything.
But not only celebrities, I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians.
It makes you wonder who. It makes you wonder who could be on those videos, who could be on those tapes, and how many of them are working behind the scenes desperately to make sure that we do not know the truth about this stuff.
Now I was just watching Sugar Love's live, but she was like showing like a whole list that he was giving out. I didn't hear one politician on that list. So I think it's interesting that he's only talking about the black celebrities that were at his parties. But he ain't talking about whatever politician, whatever prince, whatever whoever that was at his parties. What's going on with that?
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
He had princes. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
Wolves in sheep clothing, man. Wolves in sheep clothing, who will on Sunday preach a sermon, and then the next day they'll be at one of these Diddy parties doing diddly things. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
Well, my personal opinion that if Lil Rob could be trusted and his statements are true, they got him. They got tapes and stuff.
So Lil Rod is the one who's really spearheading a lot of this lawsuit stuff that is now exposing things about Diddy that has a lot of people raising their eyebrows and a lot of celebrities panicking. It has a lot of them absolutely freaking out over what could be coming very soon. It has them freaking out about what could be on those videos, what could be on those tapes. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you all in another video very soon.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy.
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself these days. Yeah, go ahead.
The man who allegedly opened fire inside of one of former President Donald Trump's Florida hotels several years ago made some wild statements to law enforcement in his interviews, saying he was a sex slave for Sean Diddy Combs. Well, now that federal investigators have raided two of the rapper's homes and an arrest and
that was a raggedy looking sex slave. I'm sorry. Did you see that guy? Like, he was a sex slave for what? Like, wow.
indictment in a sex trafficking operation could be imminent, the man's comments sound a little less crazy. We'll talk about it. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, I'm going to talk about something that I really didn't think I would. Something that when I first heard it, I actually had no idea what this was even about. So this came up during multiple times during our live Q&A shows on the Law and Crime Network when we were covering questions on the Sean Combs case. And a name kept coming up in connection with Combs, and I couldn't understand it. Jonathan Oddie. Now that name...
Oh my God. That was the sex slave? That was the sex slave. What? Ew.
May seem familiar to you, and I will explain why. But what I'm also going to do is try to break down and possibly debunk the connection between this man and Combs, but maybe not, because as wild as some of his claims were, they may make sense now. We'll talk about that. The reason I say all of this is because after several bombshell lawsuits were filed against Combs, accusing him of sexual assault, physical violence, human trafficking, after federal agents raided his homes, reportedly pursuant to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation, all of these numerous videos and social media posts and old interviews and more, they've all popped up particularly in the last 2 weeks, people trying to make some connections between what he said or people said and these allegations. Now, to be clear, Combs has not been charged with any crimes connected to this raid, but his charges may be on the horizon and the investigation continues. There is something that has surfaced. This police interrogation of a man who allegedly opened fire inside of one of former President Donald Trump's hotels, Jonathan Oddie. What is his connection to Diddy? Or should I say perceived connection to Diddy? Let me give you a little background. Now, you might remember back in 2018, a man went into the Trump National Doral Miami Hotel and Resort in the middle of the night and went on a rampage. The state attorney's office says that Jonathan Oddie fired shots inside the lobby and toward the chandelier on the ceiling, then draped a giant American flag across the hotel's front desk. He allegedly walked around breaking items like computer monitors, throwing things around the lobby. When police officers arrived and confronted him, there was a shootout. Oddie seemingly tried to make a run for it, but he had been shot in the leg. He didn't get very far. Police found him hiding. They took him into custody. Oddie was taken to the hospital with 3 gunshot wounds, 2 in one leg, 1 in the other. And while at the hospital, Oddie reportedly made several bizarre statements and asked repeatedly to speak with the FBI, Secret Service, CIA, the media. When Oddie appeared before a judge, he didn't make any kind of wild outburst, but he seemingly admitted to committing at least one of the crimes he's charged with.
1 count of aggravated assault with a firearm, 1 count of armed burglary with a battery or an assault, 1 count of armed criminal mischief causing damages greater than $1,000, 1 count of armed grand theft, and 1 count of making a false fire alarm offense. So those are the charges. Sir, do you have any money to pay for your own private attorney?
I will request as of now that the court grants me an attorney. I do have funds to pay for my attorney, but I haven't had time to meet with him yet. So I don't know if they're going to take my case or not.
Given the serious nature of these charges, I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you for this preliminary first appearance hearing. Well, it's very clear. It says surveillance footage and witness accounts corroborate that the defendant discharged a handgun multiple times at the arriving city of Doral Police Department and Miami-Dade Police Department law enforcement officers. So that, even though it doesn't specifically state 5, it does mention that there were more than, I believe, 2 uniformed officers, in addition to the unarmed security guard who threatened to kill as well. And there was damages greater than $1,000 at the Trump National Doral, because it says it was over 30,000. So anything else?
Well, unclear. Well, like I said, there's unclear. There's not a number specifically listed. There could have been 1 officer on one side and 1 officer on the other, and that's officers in general and plural. As far as that's, and I don't think I didn't see necessarily the alarm pushing, but that might have to push alarm.
It's not specifically mentioned here, although. Okay. You know, sir, everything's being recorded, just so you know. If you want to speak, it's fine. I'm happy to listen. Your attorney turned the microphone off, though. Probably a wise move.
Despite having happened so many years ago, though, Oddie's case has still not yet gone to trial. The next in-person status update at the Miami-Dade County Courthouse is scheduled for April 19th. So with all that in mind, what does this all have to do with Diddy? Well, after Oddie was released from the hospital while still wearing what appears to be a hospital gown, Oddie did interviews with law enforcement, including the Secret Service. And we have part of that interrogation. And I will tell you right now, he says some bizarre stuff, okay? After talking about various kinds of conspiracy theories, Oddie asks this one thing out of the blue.
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy,
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself
Yeah.
these days. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The
The
Boule
Boule.
the Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
And it's the black people.
Okay, first thing to talk about here. The Boule is a real thing. It is the senior leader.
What? The Boule. The Boule. What's going on here? This is creepy. Wow. Continue.
Of Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, the oldest postgraduate fraternity founded by and for Black men. It was a secret society in its beginning, but now has chapters all over the United States. This is an organization for Black professionals already experienced in their careers, and Sean Diddy Combs is sometimes rumored to have been a member of Sigma Pi Phi, but no indication that he is. Tell me this whole thing isn't a little bit out there, right? Really makes you think about the people in your life, what they're all about. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Well, there is a service that can help you learn about the reality about the people in your life. TruthFinder.com. Great sponsor of ours. Honestly, what an amazing service that can provide actual safety for you guys. Why do I say that? I say that because TruthFinder is one of the largest public record search services in the entire world. Here's how it works. You go on their website, truthfinder.com, and conspiracy. See sidebar. Hope you check it out. Now, a little later in this interview, Adi says he settled a lawsuit with Combs, but doesn't really go into detail. This is when he starts to create a web of people that he believes are involved in a larger conspiracy.
I had settlement with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land all the contracts. It's these attorneys, which are Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes. Ben Mercedes worked for Bad Boy Entertainment for 4 years and worked for Hillary Rodman for 5, okay?
So Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes might be names you recognize. They are well-known legal partners who have represented celebrities like Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, Winona Ryder, Colin Kaepernick, Jussie Smollett. Now, Mark Garagos has helped Combs fight legal battles before. In fact, in 2015, the Los Angeles County District Attorney decided not to file felony charges against Combs after he reportedly assaulted a football coach at UCLA with a kettlebell weight. Now, Combs' son, Justin, was on the team, and the coach reportedly sent him home from practice. It was a whole big mess. Ben Mercedes, though, he has an even closer relationship with Combs. He was actually a Bad Boy Entertainment intern back when it was Bad Boy Records. Ben and his father, Kenny, were honored at a Variety magazine event called Power of Law back in 2019, and Combs was there to speak about them. Ben Mercedes also took the podium and had some kind words for Combs. He said, quote, Sean Combs gave me an internship which changed my life when I was in high school. For those who don't know, Bad Boy Records is the SEAL Team 6 of internships. It prepared me for everything being under Puff's tutelage, which is why I think when judges yell at me, it's nothing compared to Puff. He talked about joining up with Mark Garagos after he graduated from Georgetown, saying he believed Garagos truly liked him because, quote, no matter how hard he yelled at me, I was willing to take it based on everything I had experienced with Puffy. Okay, so Adi knows that Garagos and Mercedes are connected with Combs, but the agenda that they're supposedly pushing is unclear at this point in the interview. But then Adi drops a bombshell. So, in a 2023 lawsuit, Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, she sued Sean Combs. She claimed that the rapper just supplied her with drugs, forced her to participate in group sex with prostitutes. She says that the sessions were often filmed. Okay, this is what she alleged in 2023. That lawsuit was settled. But now listen to what Adi says. Again, before this lawsuit was ever filed, before any of these details that she alleged were made public, listen to what he said.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave. Okay, for them, that's what I was. That's all. All right.
That is eerie. That is eerie. But not only that, Adi says he got an STD from the encounter and sued.
I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued him for
The herpes, the herpes,
Bro,
that's STD herpes.
did Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? And Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible I threw everything out. It's possible I can produce a copy.
Of course, this was years before Cassie filed her lawsuit against Combs, so the investigators aren't really sure what Adi is talking about, and they move on. But knowing what we know now about the allegations that Cassie made and others made, Adi's statement seems to corroborate some of what she said, right? Remember, Cassie said she would be forced to have sex with escorts or prostitutes. Adi, who describes himself as an investor and entrepreneur, is also reportedly a former stripper and porn actor. Could it be that he was working as an escort in the Miami area when Cassie claims the session happened? But during the interview, Adi often makes references to a cabal of rich people who have agendas. He claims the hip hop world had its own goal.
The hip hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs all over the United States. They move, you need to inform the DEA. They move all the dope, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by
customs,
by the inside the United States. Okay, they move what's called high grade powder MDMA. They move cocaine and they move liquid cocaine in the bottles too. Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the bottles and they move it. I've seen the liquid cocaine. I've drank it myself, having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks it all the time.
This particular statement brings your attention to multiple allegations in Cassie's lawsuit, as well as a lawsuit that was filed by Rodney Jones, Little Rod Jones, the former music producer for Diddy. They both talk about rampant drug use within Combs' inner circle. Now, Jones's filing says that Combs' chief of staff, Christina Quorum, required all employees to walk around with a fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy or MDMA, marijuana gummies, and something called Tucci or pink cocaine. It actually doesn't contain any actual cocaine. It's apparently a mixture of ketamine, MDMA, and caffeine. Adi again mentions an alleged lawsuit settlement between himself and Combs, but really doesn't get the chance to elaborate further.
I've had a great life. I've settled $4.125 million with Diddy. Okay, because he's scared that I was exposed.
I don't want to talk about Diddy right now. I want to talk about you. Help me understand you.
By the way, we have found no evidence that Combs paid Adi $5 million. Just want to be clear about that. But that is what Adi has to say about Combs in his interrogation. But how does this all connect back to a shootout at a hotel? Well, it seems Adi is making the connection between Combs and his lawyers and then presidential candidate Donald Trump. Adi had made many pro-Trump statements and seemed to believe that the attorneys were trying to take him down. So he decided that the American flag draped across the front desk of a hotel would send some sort of message. Now, while some of what Adi had to say seems to correlate with the new investigation into Combs or these new allegations asserted against Combs, we do need to take everything with a very large grain of salt because Adi is not the most reliable narrator. Here's another portion of his interview.
They've been promoting a hate agenda against Trump. So people hate him, okay, because they know he is very alpha, okay, very alpha in the sense that he likes money, he likes to make money, and he likes women, and they know they want to defame in certain ways with Stormy, with other people, because they want him out of the government, okay? But it ain't happening because it's too smart for them. You understand what I'm saying?
You're trying to, right?
Don is intelligent. We have a similar type of intelligence and overview of things. The only thing is he's not seeing that Hillary is a distant cousin of his and Obama have a different plan for him. You understand? No offense with Obama. I love each and every American, but he was part of that 9/11 agenda. He's a CIA agent, an ex-CIA agent. That's why there's so much identity issues with Obama. Who knows his real name? They say he was born in Indonesia and he's also born in Hawaii. Nobody knows. Why? Because he's an ex-CIA agent.
Okay.
Basically, Osama bin Laden never existed. It was a creation of the CIA, and it was Obama in a cave talking and looking like an Arab. And then they bombed the Twin Towers. Okay, so my problem is
What? So he had me at first, but then what? What? So you're getting kind of weird here. Okay, hold on now. He had me at first. I was like, okay, well, damn, he knows something. But now, what are you talking about? What are you really talking about? That's crazy.
I'm here to expose each and single one of them to the American public for the crimes committed on September 11th, 2001.
Wild stuff. I know. I know. But could there be some truth sprinkled in with all of that conspiracy talk? Could the feds be talking to Adi and finding out what he knows about Combs and his operation? As I said, Adi's still facing charges in Miami with the next scheduled hearing for a couple weeks from now. Interesting to think about. All right, that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. As always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber.
Man, that's crazy. What?
A woman has filed a sexual assault lawsuit against Christian Combs, Sean Combs' son. With the papers in hand, we now get into even more detail about these disturbing allegations, and we also have new reaction to these Combs lawsuits that sheds a new light. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Last week, we talked about how Sean Combs and his son Christian King Combs were hit with a lawsuit by a woman named Grace Omari. She claims that back in December of 2022, at 25 years old, she had been working as a stewardess on a private yacht chartered by Combs when she claims that she was drugged and sexually assaulted by Christian. Now, while we went over the lawsuit in our last episode, we didn't have the actual paperwork in hand. Now we do. So we want to do a deeper dive into some of these details. And there is a question about where this lawsuit even currently stands. Now, we know the timing of this lawsuit is very interesting, right? It comes after Combs or Diddy has already been sued by multiple people. The lawsuits allege sex trafficking, rape, assault, illegal drug and firearms possession, involvement in shootings and violence. And this new lawsuit comes 2 weeks after federal agents stormed Combs' properties in LA and Miami, reportedly removing firearms, electronics, maybe other evidence. This was reportedly pursuant to an ongoing investigation into sex trafficking from the Southern District of New York. And Combs' sons, Christian and Justin, were actually handcuffed, detained, not arrested, during that raid. We're going to get into that in a minute. Keep that in mind, that image, that visual. Now, while neither Combs nor his sons have been arrested or criminally charged with respect to this investigation, many analysts that we have spoken to believe it is only a matter of time before that happens. Okay, we have this lawsuit from Grace Omari. And before we even get into the details of it, there is a question now of what is happening with this. Why do I say that? Because the filing was not on the court system's docket. According to the Washington Post, Omari's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, said that it had to be taken down after an unfiled version of the complaint was published by the media. So I don't know what to take away from that. If that means that what we reviewed last week wasn't supposed to be seen, not sure. But assuming this lawsuit does move forward, there is a lot to break down in it. Okay, first off, I have to say, now that I have the paperwork in my hand and I have the complaint in my hand, one of the things that struck me right from the beginning is how personal this is. Quote, defendant C. Combs, that's Christian Combs, is a 25-year-old auto-tuned and heavily edited rapper. Wow. Unfortunately, as the saying has it, the apple does not fall far from the tree. Defendant Sean Combs, who has also been accused of several acts of sexual assault, rape, sexual violence, and drugging, among other deplorable conduct, is the father of defendant C. Combs, who has seemingly taken after his father and the family business of reckless.
They used AI. They used AI to make this complaint. Clearly, they used AI.
Partying, drugging others, sexual violence, and other illegal conduct. That, I mean, you usually don't see that kind of language in a lawsuit. Very, very personal attacks. Also, allegations at this point. Remember, Combs has not been criminally charged. He's not been found liable. These are allegations. But when they mention Christian, I have to highlight this too. They actually embed into the complaint not a photo of him on the red carpet, not a photo of him on an album cover, not a photo of him taken by the media. They embed a photo of him and his brother being detained in handcuffs by federal agents during that raid. That is very intentional. Of all the photos to use, you are accusing him of sexual assault and you use that photo. That was no mistake. Now, I am reminded by the fact that Miss Omari is being represented by not only Rodney Diggs, but as I mentioned, Tyrone Blackburn. Mr. Blackburn is representing former Diddy producer Rodney Jones, who also filed a separate lawsuit against Diddy, his son Justin, and several others. He claims that he was a victim of sex trafficking and that he was assaulted and subjected to violence. So maybe it is not surprising we are seeing this language as he is representing multiple people accusing the Combs family of illegal conduct. We're going to get back into the merits of these lawsuits in a minute, but going back to the Omari complaint, another interesting tidbit is that in addition to Diddy and Christian, there are several unnamed John Does and companies who are named as defendants as well. Omari claims that these people and companies aided and abetted in the commission of the conduct described in the lawsuit, and that as the case proceeds, she may add their names later on. Now, Omari goes into some detail about what this environment on the yacht was like. She talked about how she worked the late night shift from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Quote, during the second week of the charter service, there was a significant amount of partying and drug use, which caused the guests to stay up throughout the night. The makeup of the yacht quickly evolved from just defendant S. Combs and his family to include a constant rotation of suspected sex workers and other A-list celebrities such as French Montana and actor Cuba Gooding Jr. Defendant S. Combs turned what was sold as a wholesome family excursion into a hedonistic environment. According to plaintiff, it resulted in an unexpected increase in workload for her and her colleagues, as well as unwanted exposure to unlawful drug use, sex work, and general chaos. She also claims that drinks were spiked by Combs and that women were taken advantage of on the yacht. And she argues that as a bartender, she understands the impact of alcohol. And she, quote, found it very suspicious that after one shot of De Leon tequila or one mixed drink, various women on the yacht would be falling over themselves, panicking, or passing out. This led plaintiff, Grace Omari, to reasonably believe that the alcohol given to these women was likely laced with drugs. And she even describes one specific event in particular. Quote, according to plaintiff, in another incident, defendant S. Combs had several women whom plaintiff suspected of being sex workers on the yacht. In one incident, a girl was extremely upset and ran to the lower deck, locked herself in the massage room, and was hysterically crying. She said she did not feel safe and wanted to leave. The crew was alerted of this. At this time, Sarah Chapman, one of S. Combs's children's mother, was due to have a massage, so plaintiff had to attempt to remove this young woman from the massage room, but she was very reluctant as she felt unsafe. Eventually, she left. All of this is important for Omari's legal claims, namely that Sean Combs is liable for what his son Christian allegedly did to her. Why? Under the premises liability cause of action, and that, by the way, is where a property owner or someone who is in control of a property has a duty to use reasonable care to keep visitors of the property safe. According to Omari, since Sean Combs leased, occupied, and or controlled the yacht and allowed who was on it and what was happening, this is his fault that she was sexually assaulted by his son. Quote, defendant S. Combs allowed and encouraged the people aboard his yacht, including his son C. Combs, to engage in the drugs and reckless behavior while aboard the yacht. Defendant S. Combs' negligence was a substantial factor in causing plaintiffs harm because of failing to properly use and secure the yacht and for fostering an environment for drug use and assault to occur without ramifications. So in the law, you need to show causation for this. But for what Combs did, this would not have occurred. We really have to show that you created a condition where it was foreseeable this would happen, that Combs knew or should have known this assault would happen because of the environment he created. You might be saying, okay, that seems like a strong claim. Maybe it doesn't. But then you have the aiding and abetting claim against Sean Combs, too. Quote, defendant S. Combs knew that an assault, battery, sexual assault was being committed and was and going to be committed against plaintiff because he encouraged and fostered an environment and culture to his son and his employees to do whatever they want with plaintiff and the other yacht staff. And Omari goes on to describe how Combs covered up the assault, too, that he paid off the yacht captain to keep quiet, allegedly gave him a big tip. By the way, talking about that captain, Omari says that after she told the yacht captain, Petar Milkov, about what happened to her, he, quote, berated her, lacked compassion or concern, failed to investigate, and insisted that she was probably voluntarily partying with the guest. She was not. She also says that, quote, Captain Milkov added insult to injury by assigning plaintiff to work in front of the house, which required personally serving defendant C. Combs while they were on the yacht. Now imagine for a moment that she really is a victim of Christian Combs. That is really sinister stuff. But now let's go back to when Christian Combs allegedly drugged and assaulted Omari. Remember, these are allegations at this point. And I explained a little bit of the background about this in our previous sidebar, but one interesting detail from the complaint that we didn't bring up is that according to Omari, when an allegedly heavily intoxicated Christian Combs came aboard the yacht on that night and went into the recording studio and started ordering tequila shots, Omari claims that Cassandra Ventura, or Cassie's Me and You, that song, was playing in the background. What makes that, as Omari says in the lawsuit, ironic, is that Cassie was a former artist and girlfriend of Sean Combs who filed that initial lawsuit against him back in 2023, claiming that she was physically and sexually abused by the rapper and producer. She ended up settling with him, but remember, that was the first lawsuit that began all of this. From there, we saw more lawsuits against Combs. We saw the raids. Now, that is a very specific detail for Omari to remember that arguably adds to her narrative, right? And kinds of adds a weird context to it. But I imagine that if she were to testify at trial about hearing this song, again, so specific, that would be challenged by Combs's lawyers. And they would say, you remember that? Is that awfully convenient? You remember that detail? Maybe you don't remember other things. So I guess that could be something that she would, or something that would be challenged. Okay, but now going back to this event. Omari claims that initially she was forced to take tequila shots, that she wasn't allowed to leave. She claims that her drink was spiked. And she said that she was very scared and in a very dangerous situation with Christian Combs. Now, I'm not sure if this is a typo, but in the actual suit, it says that Sean Combs touched her legs, her breast, her private areas, and started kissing her on her neck, face, and hands. I'm pretty sure that's a typo because it seems like she's been alleging that it was Christian who sexually assaulted her. She doesn't sue Sean Combs for assault or battery. So again, I think this is a typo. And if it is, that doesn't look good. This is arguably one of the most important lines in this lawsuit. You mess up who you're talking about? But I mean, I don't know what to make of it. But here's what we do have. Omari claims that Rodney Jones, as I mentioned, Diddy's former producer, now plaintiff, suing Combs for sexual assault in a separate lawsuit, that he was there on the yacht that night and actually recorded the audio of this assault, this whole episode happening. She provides a transcript of what she says is Christian Combs drugging and sexually assaulting her. I'm going to read it for you now. Christian, yo, it's shot o'clock. Grace, no, I'm not doing shots, Christian. Christian, everybody, we got to take a shot. In a second audio tape, Grace says, I'll just put the ledge. Christian, no, 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 take the whole thing. Grace, no, you will take it as well. Christian, take the whole shot. Grace, I'm only doing it as long as you take it as well. Christian, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not taking nothing. Please, please take the shot. Grace, you were drugging me? Christian, take the shot. Hey, yo, play another beat one time because now, and then there is a transcript of Christian's alleged sexual assault of Grace. Cassie's Me and You playing in the background, allegedly. Grace, this is not an offer. Christian, you said what? Grace, I can't. I'm swapping out. I can't do it. I'm sorry, darling. Christian, nah, we need you. Grace, I'm going to stop. Stop. I have to go. I have to go. Honestly, I'm like already losing sleep. I have to go now. Christian, you're the best one on this ship, though. Grace, what do you mean? Christian, who's going to replace you? Grace, who's going to replace me? Christian, F that. That's going to be trash, though. You feel me? Grace, excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that. Christian, listen, you and everybody in the crew, it's great. Grace, I can't. I have to go down. I have to go down. Christian, no, you tell me. Listen. Grace, what? Christian, say you're just vibing with me the whole time. Grace, I can't. I promise you. I wish I could, but I can't. Unless I say that you guys requested me. Christian, yes, who can I talk to right now? Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now. Grace, well, you can take your hand off my ass for the first thing. Now, according to Grace in her complaint, or Miss Omari in her complaint, she basically says she was saying that he needed to get permission, and all the people that would give him permission to hang out with her were asleep. So this was kind of a ruse for her to escape. There's a lot of legal issues surrounding the Diddy case. Makes you think about how important it is to have a great lawyer, right? Well, that is especially true in personal injury cases, which can be very, very tough to navigate. But enter Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, proud sponsor of us here on Sidebar. You know why they're so big? Because they win a lot. They are all about fighting these. But also there's something else that I always want to highlight when it comes to Morgan. Perform oral sex on him. She claims that she had to fight. Christian allegedly trapped her in the cinema room in the yacht, groped her, and tried to force her to perform oral sex on him. She claims that she had to fight him off until her partner on board came by and Christian ran away. But now, in this lawsuit, in this complaint, there are embedded photos of Omari's arm that appear to have bruises or discoloration. She claims this is from the attack. It is an important piece of evidence. But defense lawyers will ask, when were these photos taken? How do we know if it was caused by this and not something else, and so forth? Now, moving on. A big component of a lawsuit like this is to explain the harm that you suffered. That helps in terms of the damages calculation, what you are owed in terms of monetary compensation. So Omari explains in the complaint that she loved yachting, even at an early age, that she traveled the world, that she enjoyed a successful career where she received high praise, great feedback, great reviews. But, quote, prior to being sexually assaulted by defendant Christian Combs, plaintiff planned to work the entirety of her career in hospitality and the yachting industry. Unfortunately, those plans have been derailed due to the trauma plaintiff continues to have as a result of the assault. And let's talk about what Omari claims here. She claims that 2023 was the most deeply traumatizing time of her life. She talks about how after the alleged assault and cover-up, she was isolated, she was retaliated against, and she was ultimately fired. She even lost her longtime partner. She says that her mental health significantly deteriorated to the point where she required medication and therapy, and she fell into a deep depression. She claims that she couldn't even perform her maid of honor duties for her sister. She also claims that she developed a severe eating disorder, suffered from suicidal ideations, and even had seizures. So if she can prove that in a trial, that is going to be not only devastating testimony for Christian Combs and Sean Combs, but really important in terms of damages calculations. So she ends up suing Christian Combs for assault, battery, sexual assault, intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress, and as I mentioned earlier, the other claims against Sean Combs as well. Now, I do want to call out something else from the lawsuit, some other mentions in the lawsuit. You remember Brendan Paul, who we talked a lot about here on Sidebar? He was listed in Rodney Jones's lawsuit as Diddy's alleged drug mule that supplied Diddy with narcotics and weapons. He was actually arrested on the day of the raids for drug possession at a Miami airport. Well, he is listed in this Grace Omari lawsuit too. Quote, according to plaintiff defendant S. Combs' assistant and noted drug mule, Brendan Paul, once came down to the pantry and was laughing uncontrollably. He told plaintiff that he had to sit and watch defendant S. Combs have sex with multiple women. He said defendant S. Combs wanted him present just in case he needed him to get him something while he was in the middle of the act. Plaintiff questioned why Brendan would want to work for defendant S. Combs if he was required to do such things, and Brendan replied that defendant S. Combs was a good link to have in the industry. There's also an interesting section that mentions how A-list guests came on board the yacht. That includes a Philadelphia rapper, a 30-year-old Atlanta rapper who rose to prominence following the release of his 2017 mixtapes, a 25-year-old British rapper, a Moroccan rapper signed to Bad Boy Records and Maybach Music Group, and a former model and CEO of a female urban clothing brand. I'm not going to guess who these people are. If anybody online wants to do their
I know
due
French
diligence,
Santana is one of them.
feel free to do it.
One of those French
Now, I
Santana.
will tell you who is actually mentioned, who is named in this lawsuit, Cuba Gooding Jr. He is not a defendant in this case, but he is mentioned. And we remember that Jones actually filed a lawsuit against Cuba Gooding Jr. He says that he was sexually assaulted by the actor on Diddy's yacht, by the way, actually accused Sean Combs of facilitating this abuse. But in this lawsuit, Omari claims that Cuba Gooding Jr. was extremely unpleasant to serve, that he sat at the bar, made derogatory comments to her, that he was visibly intoxicated, and she was in the room and witnessed him inappropriately touching Rodney Jones. So she will be an important witness in Jones's lawsuit, and vice versa. Jones and Omari are linked in a way, right? They both are there to testify to prove the claims of the other. So quite the lawsuit, to say the least. But I got to give you some updates. Omari's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, he told NBC News, quote, "It gives us no joy or pleasure in filing this suit against Christian Combs, who has clearly adopted his father's pattern and practice of depravity." While her other attorney, Rodney S. Diggs, also told NBC, quote, "I am here to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, and I applaud Grace for being so brave to come forward with her truth." However, Aaron Dyer, an attorney for Christian and Diddy, said in a statement that the lawsuit from Grace Omari was, quote, "another lewd and meritless claim from Tyrone Blackburn." Quote, "This complaint is filled with the same kind of manufactured lies and irrelevant facts we've come to expect from Blackburn. We will be filing a motion to dismiss this outrageous claim." Now, a motion to dismiss is when you say the plaintiff has not stated an actual claim, the court doesn't have jurisdiction, or there's some other problem with the actual pleadings. That's how you get rid of it at the outset. Now, I had mentioned in a previous sidebar about how Mr. Blackburn was not only criticized by opposing counsel, but even a federal judge in New York who referred to him to the grievance committee for allegedly filing lawsuits that have deficiencies, that he improperly files cases in federal court to garner media attention and to embarrass defendants with salacious details. So keeping that criticism in mind for a moment, where we're talking about, are these claims, are these allegations in these lawsuits credible? Just now, Instagram model Jade Ramey, who Rodney Jones claimed in his lawsuit was one of the people that Diddy allegedly bragged about paying to be a sex worker, she has fired back against these allegations from Rodney Jones. Through her publicist, Ramey told Entertainment Tonight in a statement, quote, "Dating someone doesn't directly correlate to any of the false allegations made. Yes, I dated someone. How unfortunate we've entered a time where caring for someone or falling in love is worthy of scrutiny in the court of public opinion. What may be amusing for you is real life for others, and my feelings have never been for entertainment, nor are they up for discussion. We need to be more conscious as a society when ridiculing people's lives and relationships merely for enjoyment. I appreciate everyone's kind messages and support during this time. Thank you." Also, Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend, Young Miami, who Jones also listed as one of the people that Diddy claimed was a sex worker, denied the allegations too, writing on Instagram, "I'm not a prostitute. I never sold," and she has an emoji for, you can do the math, an emoji for her private parts. "I never sold a day in my life. I hate how this is getting spun." And again, what do we make of these allegations? Serious allegations, but allegations nonetheless. And what about Diddy? In the aftermath of the lawsuits, in the aftermath of the raids, there are these videos and pictures of him that have surfaced in Miami, out relaxing, holding up the peace sign. But he also just posted on Instagram the music video for his 1997 song Victory, where he runs from police. And he wrote in the caption, "Bad boy for life," followed by a raised fist emoji. So again, these are all allegations in the suit. Neither Combs nor his sons have been found liable. They haven't been arrested or charged, but these are serious allegations, and we will continue to follow where all of this goes.
It's a lot of like crazy stuff going on. So I hope if you haven't seen the whole thing, just go ahead and watch it. Check out Sidebar. And that's it for the night. Peace.